Running fans, welcome to the show. This is the first ever edition of On Your Marks. I'm your host, Lloyd Kempson, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Rosie. Welcome, Rosie.
Welcome. I'm very excited.
How are you feeling?
It's going to be great.
I love how optimistic you are.
Hey, you don't know till you try.
This is true. This is something that we've wanted to do at Trackstaa for so long, and I think the running world in the UK needs it. I love talking about track and field athletics, as I know you do as well, but we're going to cover so many different various topics, and I think this will be one of those things that we look back in even just 6 months' time and think, wow, that first episode was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, I think it could be a cringe-worthy performance, but, you know, we'll wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll absolutely wait to see where it goes, for sure. Right, first things first, guys. If you are watching this and thinking that I look like I'm having a row with my mic, I am having a row with my mic. I am having some serious problems with this thing, and it's going to become a love-hate relationship. But either way, Rosie, talk to me. What we got on the show today? What are we talking through?
So we're going to obviously have a bit of introductions, a bit of a welcome. We're really excited about the show, and hopefully that can convey a little bit of passion and excitement to anybody else that fancies to tune in. But then we're going to get cracking with the Chicago Marathon, have a quick debrief of that. Obviously, some big things happened in Chicago, and kind of where the women's marathon is at as well in GB and how that's kind of unfolding at the moment. And then we're going to look ahead for what is to come between now and Christmas on the domestic scene. There's a lot coming up. Cross is just getting started, and that's always exciting heading into winter. And then a review of the track season. And I think that is one. It's been a great track season. I think it's been a really long one. Obviously, the Olympics took so much focus. But we look back, obviously, we had the European Championships as well. So much has happened, and the Diamond League circuit as well. There's so much to talk about there.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. I think every Olympic year is always mental. But I think that the Diamond League, in addition to the Olympic season, just made it such an incredible summer season. And I think also when we look ahead, we've got so much to look forward to as well with the Grand Slam track coming in. I'm excited to talk about that, you know, in the weeks and months that come, and how that's going to work alongside the Diamond League, how that's going to change the sport. Is it going to be, you know, received and accepted as well as we hope? I don't know. Obviously, we're seeing some of the early marketing come out, which is really out there. So, you know, in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about that and bring you guys along on the show. But where I do want to start, Rosie, I think it would be good for our viewers to learn a little bit more about us, because we're going to be on their screens a lot more than previously. Obviously, if you guys have followed Trackstaa for 5 weeks, 5 months or 5 years, you will know us mainly as an Instagram page and a YouTube channel. We are trying to evolve. We're trying to bring new faces to Trackstaa, more coverage across different corners of the running world. And this is exactly why this show is here. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Lloyd. I'm the CEO and co-owner of Trackstaa, and this is Rosie. Rosie's our newest broadcaster, so she's just joined the broadcasting team. But Rosie, for anyone at home that is watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple, maybe they're out on a long run, who are you? Tell us your story. Who are you?
Well, hopefully they won't get too bored of my voice, but primarily everything that I do is to try and get my voice out there a little bit more. I'm a commentator and broadcaster. I'm currently studying a master's in sports journalism, and I want to just grow that. I love athletics. I've been in athletics since I was 8, and I've had a passion for it since then, basically. I've always wanted to do anything to do with running and sport, and most of my decisions in my life have probably revolved around that, maybe too much so at points. And yeah, I came down to London to start uni a few years ago and basically fell in love with running all over again. I've always loved the competitive side, but it gave me a new enjoyment for the sport as a whole instead of just racing. And yeah, I got into my commentary just before uni. Obviously, it dropped off a little bit when my undergrad had to take priority. And in the last year or so, it's kind of picked up again, snowballed unbelievably. I've done the English Schools Championships for the live streams. I did the Liverpool Cross live stream last year.
Yeah.
A few other bits like that. And then started broadcasting, went out for the Bislett Games. That was great fun. And have just completely decided this is what I want to do. And it's, yeah, I can't think of anything better. Who wouldn't want to talk about athletics all day, every day?
I do agree to some extent. I will play devil's advocate and say that because we've shared similar job roles, talking about athletics or commentating, and I would go as far as saying when I'm hosting an event, the second best place is where I am. The best place is on the track.
Yeah.
I always get that FOMO of like, yeah, this is sick that I'm here, like Bislett Games, but I do wish I was out there doing it. Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, I think as an athlete, and first and foremost a competitive one, like that is what I wanted to do as a kid. I looked at the Diamond Leagues, I looked at any championships, whether I understood what the championships was about or not, whether it was the Olympics or not, or anything like that. I looked at it, I thought, that looks so much fun. That's what I want to do. And as I've gotten older, I've kind of realised that my body maybe isn't up to the standard that it needs to be. The injuries have come my way, illness has come my way. And as much as I would love to graft and get myself there, sometimes your body just doesn't agree.
Can relate to that.
And as much as I look at it and I think that was maybe a dream at one point, my dream now is to be there in a different capacity. And I think that I will always look at the track and think that would be so cool to be that person walking out into the crowd with the crowd like absolutely roaring for your introduction. That would be amazing. The adrenaline rush that must give must be next level. And there'll always be a little part of me that's sad that I won't get that on a full scale. But working in the media and working kind of alongside that crowd, being able to hear it and deliver something else to those spectators is kind of the next best thing for me, I think. And it's just amazing to be able to be part of that experience and enhance that kind of spectator day out in a way.
That's really cool because I think I turned 30 this year and I started athletics when I was day before my 8th birthday. So I've been doing it as long as you. And for a lot of those years, it was always about being as fast as possible, being competitive, trying to be an Olympian. And then at some point I realised, well, that's just not going to happen. Like, I'm just miles away. I'm too old or, whatever. But finding different pockets in the sport that I can appreciate to still scratch that itch, I think that's a really nice way of explaining it. And I think a lot of our viewers will be able to relate to that. Maybe they're an athlete or they're involved in the media or they're just, involved in their club or whatever. Sometimes your Olympic moment doesn't necessarily need to be in the Olympics. And I actually got a friend of mine, Dale Clutterbuck, who's Reve Walcott-Nolan's fiance and a great coach. He once said to me after my marathon in April, he was like, how'd you get on? I said, yeah, it went all right, weren't that fast, it was all right. And he was like, well, you're fast. What's not fast to you is really fast to some people. And sometimes you've got to put your perspective in place, isn't it? But it's great to hear that, you're doing good things in the sport, and especially when you've got a passion about them. One question I've got is just for our viewers listening, and also for me as well. You said that you started athletics when you was 8. Talk us through that story. Where does that all start from? What part of the world? What was your first few years in athletics like? So
I grew up in Leicester, in a tiny little village primary school, which was brilliant. It was a lovely place, and they were like, you've got energy, like, we want to get you running.
Calm down.
And my mum was like, you've got a lot of energy, get running. Yeah. And the school, I was lucky enough that I had a PE teacher that was really up for athletics and running and just getting kids active. And they started a running club at lunchtime. And as soon as my mum got wind of that, get yourself there, Rosie, come on, let's get you worn out, let's get some energy out. And I did it, I enjoyed it a little bit, but I didn't really think anything of it.
Yeah.
You're 8, floating around, life was great.
Yeah.
And then I got a letter saying there's a race for the school and we'd like you to go, but it will mean that you missed the spelling test. Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
Oh, all about missing the spelling test that week. Absolutely. Sounds great. Never had to do the spelling test afterwards either.
Perfect.
But it was what I didn't realise, it was a qualification race for the next round.
Okay.
I had no idea that's what it was about. And I went and I got the final qualification spot and I got invited down to the local running club to do some training for it. I got some free sessions and then they asked me to join.
Which club was that?
So at the time it was Reek Runners. It's now Reconsaw Valley Athletics Club.
Valley, I've run against them.
Yeah. So Reconsaw Valley about 10 years ago transitioned from Reek Runners and kind of made their own club, and Reek Runners became like a different branch.
Right.
And yeah, I remember saying, I'll join, but I'm not sure how kind of invested I'll be into it. It was nice, it's fun, but I'm a creature of habit and I like my routine as it is, thank you. Little 8-year-old Rosie was not having any change if she didn't have to. But it turns out I loved it and I never missed a session. I'd be down there every Saturday morning on the field, on the grass track. And
putting in the graft.
Exactly. And I would just do it and do it and do it until someone told me to stop.
Nice.
And eventually that meant racing. And a few years down the line as an under 13, the National Road Relays caught my eye. The team above me, so it was the A team, I was in the B team that year, they won it. And I thought, you know what?
That's what I want to do.
That's what I want. Like, that'd be pretty cool.
And at that age, 12 years old, National Road Relays is like the pinnacle, isn't it? It's just like, it's like fun fair for runners, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely
Wicked.
is. It is the best day of the year.
Yeah.
And I grafted all year, every run I went out on, national road relays, you got to make that A team, you got to make it, you got to make it, you got to make it. And the Midland road relays, which 2 weeks prior came round, and I thought, this is your trial to get into the A team. Like, they are put, I knew I was being put against one other girl in another team. We were both racing first leg. You got to go, absolutely bomb it out. Like, you have to beat her. If she beats you, she's going to have the national medal around her neck. I beat her.
She's quit now. She quit.
She did.
Oh, so you've basically, in your quest to reach stardom at Sutton Park, at National Road Relays, you ruined another little girl's dream.
I did, unfortunately. And
some are winners, some are losers.
Yeah, and I was the winner that day. And 2 weeks later, back round at Sutton Park, here we go, National Road Relays. And we took the gold, and it was absolutely everything to me. That medal is still up in my bedroom back in Leicester.
Yeah, winning national road relays at any age group. Like, I was having a pint last night at Ross Murray, 2012 Olympian, name drop. We're gonna have a few of these name drops. But we were chatting about the cross country relays, which is obviously when this comes out, it'll be the coming weekend. And he said, "Oh, we won it back in the day with Gateshead," and he was under 17, and I was like, that's so impressive because those young age groups are so competitive.
Oh, they're fierce.
So incredibly talented. And up the front, you've got literally like the stars of tomorrow.
And people just don't, like, at that age, you have no barrier. Like, there is no kind of pain threshold.
Savage, isn't it?
You will just go until you literally hit the floor. And that just, if any spark was ever dying out, that relit everything for me.
Yeah.
For the next however many years. And I picked up a few county Midland medals along the way, and then as an under-17 the road relays rocks back round, and we thought, you know what, for the first time in a few years we've got a good team here. Like, our team was always kind of in and around it, but we thought, you know what, the top 10 finishes on the cards here as an under-17, let's go for it. And my first leg athlete, who was Indy King, she's moved clubs now, but she's quite a successful track runner, Indy, and she came through in first, and I looked, oh my god, I didn't expect this, I've got to take over. This is not what was on the cards this morning. I knew we thought we could do well, but Jesus, this is going to be a rough day at the office.
Did you hold the lead?
I didn't, but I held third.
That's not bad though, eh?
Not bad going, considering we didn't think we would.
And this is nationals?
Yeah.
So you would have had your older shots, cross knows everyone.
Everyone was there, and the fear of God was in me as I ran up that hill at Sutton Park that day. And
that first hill's so frightening, especially out in front.
Yeah, I just, there is nothing like the fear of running when you're being chased.
I'm glad we've spoken about the road relays because this podcast show, and we want to cater to our British audience because Trackstaa are British based, right? So we have a soft spot for the British scene. We want to cover the scene that's going over here in the UK. We will talk about the American scene and the global scene, of course. We're going to talk about things like Chicago Marathon, NCAA, all of that. But I'm glad we spoke about the road relays because club athletics over here in the UK, if you're a British viewer, you will know how ingrained it is in our history, how great it is for juniors. You've literally just told us a story about how it helped you develop to where you are. You know, you've gone into media. You would have never been able to do that if you didn't join your local club. Do you know what I mean?
Not. Yeah.
You started at your school. Just on last point on the National Road Relays before we move on, I have a story about National Road Relays. So I ran for a club in the east of England who weren't the best nationally, right? I mean, even at juniors, like I'd always go first leg because second, third and fourth leg just weren't good enough. So to get a race, I'd go first leg. And I couldn't even tell you our highest position, I mean, it was nowhere. Qualifying for nationals was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then a few years down the line, when I was running for Cambridge and Coleridge, I was about 24, 25. I think it was my first year at university, St Mary's. I was in really good shape. And we just happened to have just signed Jack Gray from his Birmingham club. Tom Keane was coming through the ranks as a really good 1500 metre runner. We had, I think, Kieran Wood, who's retired now, but he was basically a 4-minute miler, insane team. And I was on third leg, and first leg came in, I think we were top 10, and then I think it was Jack Gray was on our second leg, who's really, really good on the road. And I just hear the words from the race referee, CNC, and I'm like, bruv, are you dyslexic and you got AFD and CNC mixed up? Because that ain't me out in front. No. No. Trust me. I was like, I've been running this event for 12 years and I've never been out in front. Please don't. I'm like this. I'm like a 25-year-old man and I'm not on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
So I'm so scared. I'm like, okay. But the best thing ever happened because we were in a battle with Lincoln and Wellington, and I used to train in Lincoln years ago, and they're all my mates. So my mate was going to be running with me. So I was like, Jimmy, it's you and me out in front. And he was like kind of equally as nervous as me. So I said, I was like, look, let's just, get out that first deal and we'll work it together. Behind me, we had Johnny Hay from Aldershot and Farnham District, who's just a demon back in them days. We had, I can't remember his name from Newham and Essex Beagles, but like the level of athletes behind me were like so much better than me. And me and Jimmy were just like messing around a little bit and getting a bit tactical. And I just remember like running down the final hill to the final turn. Like I knew I could out-kick him because he didn't have much of a kick. You still don't. But because we were messing about at the front and not really pushing the pace, everyone caught us up. And I just remember looking behind me and I could see like Johnny Hay and all these vests coming. It was the scariest moment of my life. But winning that leg was the best moment of my life. Like no one will ever take that away from me. Yeah. And I think there'll be so many viewers that watch this that can relate to that pressure that comes from the relays, because like you can have a bad race in a race and you just be like, oh, whatever. But in a relay, you're like, no, I've got my team. Like,
there is something else, isn't there?
I've got to get round. Even if I just get 5 seconds quicker, I've got to get there.
Yeah.
That's the road relays.
It's so special. It's an unrivaled day.
It's mega.
It absolutely is. It's brilliant.
It's mega. And we'll have the cross-country relays that we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
That's coming up in when this comes out, just a few days' time. We'll preview some of the leading teams in that, and we'll also talk about the event as well, because it's got a similar sort of history. Yeah. Slightly different dynamic and atmosphere, but still awesome.
Still a great day.
Still a great day. Okay, moving on. So, yeah, that was Rosie. Thank you for joining me on the show. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing to have you here. And if anyone's got any questions for Rosie, you want to know anything about her, within reason, pop a comment, reach out to us, and we'll ask it on the show. As I say, this is our first ever episode, so we don't really know what we're doing at the moment. We're just kind of going with it. And if you've got a question, we'll answer it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll answer it. Chicago Marathon. Yeah. What a place to start.
What a place to start.
Weren't bad, was it?
I think that's I look at it and I think I have no words when I look at those results, and I just think, wow, like that is just crazy.
I know. Do you want to start on the men's or the women's side?
I think let's start with the men's. Women's, let's build
Weren't that great, was it?
Nice. Who wants to know about that race, honestly?
It got showed up completely.
Bit of a non-day.
It was. Talk me through. I mean, let's start at the front.
Yes. So, John Courier, obviously, last year was won by the late Kelvin Kiptum.
Sad, that was.
Very sad. And obviously was a world record last year.
Yeah.
But 2:02:44, I mean, you can't.
I know.
Like.
It's almost like an average time, though, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, well, I mean, when you look at last year's performance and obviously give a bit of a nod to the women's race as well, like you got to think, is there something bigger coming now? Obviously, Kelvin Kiptum was the one having set that record that people were kind of looking to go, is that barrier going to go? Is that
he'd have smashed 2 hours.
Like, it was more of a question of when was he going to smash it?
So we were just talking about Kelvin Kiptum, obviously a massive loss to the running community and the sport as a whole. And you were saying that obviously it was going to, like, you can never say what someone's going to do, but like 2 hours, it was almost like he was just going to smash it in his sleep. Yeah,
it's one of those, obviously sport is so unpredictable, and I think we see this not just in athletics, we see it in athletics all the time, but you look at rugby, you look at football especially, you never know what's around the corner, you never know when there's going to be a giant killer, and you just think like, what is going to happen? But if you can say something's inevitable, you had that feeling about him and about his marathon performances.
Definitely.
It's almost like when you look at Keeley run and you look at Keeley line up on that start line, you look like victory is just inevitable, or a British record, or she's an
How can she be beat? It's that vibe, isn't it?
You look at it and think, what else is there? Who else is there?
Although I feel like that about Keeley, I know we're going off piste a little bit, but that's going to be
we're going to do that so much.
Thread. I feel like Keeley only looked like that this year.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like last year's, she's still an unbelievable athlete the previous years, but like you were like, I think she might not win, Mo might beat her, Maura might beat her, but this year I was like, no, there's no way.
I think with it being such a long season as well, we're so used to seeing that from her this season. And people kind of almost forget that we can wind the clock back further than 2024. But yeah, I think Kiptum had that same air about him, and obviously the marathon is obviously slightly less contested. It's a little bit of a different discipline when you think about it in that sense. But the performances were coming out, and obviously there's always people who look at it and go, well, is it the shoes? What's going on? Like all that sort of thing. But you just got to think, that inevitability, that feeling that 2 hour barrier was going to go, it was going to go to him. So obviously takes nothing away from the Chicago Marathon win this year and the 2:02:44. I mean, a few years ago, we'd have been blown away by that.
Yeah, I know.
You just look back and you think that is incredible. And it is incredible. Our perspective shifts so fast with the sport. Obviously, sport is fast moving. It's so dynamic. But we have short memories. And I think that we can't take away from just how quick that is. And if you look at the second and third times, I mean, they were both 2:04:39 and 2:04:50. Look at my notes. So, like, again, very quick. But
solid.
You think you look.
Because Mo Farah set a British record on that course, 2:05. That was a big run from him because he'd had a few humdingers.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mo.
Yeah.
But he'd had a few humdingers in the marathon, and then he ran 2:05 there. So it is known as a very fast course. It's very flat and fast.
We know that Chicago is somewhere where big performances come out, like Berlin. We know Berlin is somewhere that your marathoners, they're going to go there. It is somewhere that you got a time in your head. That's where people are off to. And I think that it needs to be said that is still an incredibly strong and shows the strength and depth that we have in the marathon.
One thing I will say about the men's side, and I suppose a little bit of accountability on my part, but since Kiptum's passing and since Kipchoge has not seemed so invincible, I must admit I've lost track of who's the big guns are.
Yes, I agree.
I just can't.
I totally agree.
Which is good. Maybe that's a good thing for the sport.
Yeah, I think, if anything, it just shows you that actually there are so many at this level and we've kind of unleashed it and off we go and everyone's like, yeah, I can do this. And it's a nod to maybe a bit of sports psychology, the technology that we have got in the sport now, training smarter, eating smarter, recovering smarter, all of those things that are progressing. But yeah, I think that, again, that sense of inevitability was with Kipchoge, wasn't it? It was, he's the one that's broken 2 hours. Like,
he's invincible.
It is him, yeah. And he's
the chosen one.
He is it. Yeah. He is the man that was going to do it. And I think that since we've kind of seen him as human, others have come through and it's not blurred the lines between that kind of standout performer, but it's just showed us that actually there are so many behind the scenes that are at this level and we do see the top 0.001% breaking these records. But there are so many building towards that and there are so many that have the potential to do that. And I think it is great for the sport. Everyone loves someone that is the favourite. Everyone loves a favourite and everyone loves an underdog. But the fact that we don't necessarily have one at the moment just shows it's only good. It only means the sport is growing and that's only positive. Yeah,
I think on the men's side, one athlete I'm really excited to step up to the marathon at some point is Jacob Kiplimo, the Ugandan. I think he has proven his track record over the half marathon and I think he could be a serious danger to that 2 hour barrier at some point in his career because he's got the track pedigree as well, which I think is important. Yeah, I think people will look at the marathon and I think it's so individualised. People will underestimate the impact of individual physiology. But I think that, people will look at the marathon and go, well, it's road, it's that long, there are no parallels. Right, let's talk about the women's side. Obviously, there was, incredible. Where do you even start with that? Where do you even start with that? I mean, we'll get on to the specifics around the performance in a moment and the way that it's transcended the sport just from that one performance alone. But I don't think we've seen a performance rock the athletics world in terms of the media and the buzz around the sport, positive and some negative, since I would say it was far, far, far surpassed Kiptum's run. Yeah. And I honestly think since Kipchoge ran the sub-2 in Vienna. I think that is the only thing that springs to mind is when Kipchoge proved that we could do it. And obviously, I mean, we manufactured that within an inch of its life. Like, people looked at it and thought, like, there was drafting, there was shoes, everything that could possibly be They even changed the camera of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, even everything that could be possibly controlled to be perfect was made perfect for that. Okay, so we've just had to take a 10-minute break off camera because basically our camera battery stopped working, didn't it? So, it's a few technical issues on day one, but it's fine. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, nothing's on fire yet. I think that's a win. And I haven't broken anything yet. Big win. 2 wins, first game day, not bad. 2-0 up. And that red light's still on, yeah? Still on. Get in. Where were we, Rosie? We were literally just talking about the women's world record, weren't we? We were just about to start kind of investigating that world record, and we were saying, I think, how there has been nothing since Kipchoge did go under 2. There's been nothing since then that has shook the athletics world quite this much. And obviously, we spoke about Kelvin Kiptum a few moments ago and like how impressive that world record was. And I think it blew people away, but people were also like, well, we know we're heading that way. We know we're on the way.
Yeah.
And I think sub 210 didn't really cross people's minds that much on the women's side. People didn't really think about that. And I think like the fact that it was not quite at the forefront, it's probably wearing away in the back of a lot of athletics fans' minds.
Yeah.
But no one was thinking this is a day 210's going to fall.
Well, she said on the press conference that, to be fair, it was, I think, and guys, if you're watching this, quote me if I'm wrong, because again, like, this is me holding my hands up. The marathon scene, I've fallen off the wagon a little bit the last year or so, where a lot of the leading athletes from Africa, I just don't know a lot about them. I haven't done my due diligence on research. You asked me about the track scene, I'm there, because I'm at the Diamond League, I'm in.
You have no choice.
But the roads, I'm more of a fan for the marathons. I just watch it and enjoy it, so I'm a little bit off of it. But I do remember the day before the Chicago Marathon, the women's press conference, I don't know if it was her or the athlete from On who went with the pace. Again, can't tell you the name off the top of my head.
No.
Who said, I want 64.30 halfway. And that was like, right, so we're going 2.9 or 2.9 and bits. So it was like, they are attacking this world record. So like, it's not like they've just turned up on the day and been like, oh, I feel good, I've had a good carb load.
Yes, yeah.
They're like, I'm going into this race, sub 2:10. Absolutely
Crazy.
mental.
I think that has blown away athletics fans and like marathon fans because
loads of people have quit.
I mean, who can blame them? Like, I think, even as a fan, I'm a pretty avid fan myself. Like, again, I'd agree with you with the marathon. Like, track has taken such precedence this year with so many championships, with such an intense Diamond League circuit. We've kind of had no choice but to forget about road for a while. And I think that's probably why. So, 210 wasn't on my radar. It wasn't there. I was thinking like, we could get some good performances out of Chicago. I'll be interested to see what happens. And then bang, world record, 2:09.56. What the hell happened there? That's crazy.
So I was out and about because it was mid-afternoon UK time. So I was out and about and coming in from my long run. It had started, I think it was like an hour in. So then I was like, I'll wait till halfway split and then I'll put the kettle on.
Yeah.
Then I popped out of the room and I come back and I was like, I missed the halfway split. And then I went on the tracking app to see what pace they're on for. And I was like, it was like 2:08 something. And I'm like, hey. And then I go on Instagram and Trackstaa have posted that she went through 5K in 15 flat, I think it was.
It's crazy.
Which is, I don't know. I don't have the numbers right now, but it was crazy fast. And our group chat, my club group chat was blowing up. And I don't know, part of me was like, this might sound really harsh because I love when people do really well. Yeah. But part of me was like, nah, she ain't gonna hold that. She ain't gonna hold that. That ain't possible. That's not possible. Yeah. You've got to slow down. Like, for my own sake. Yeah. I was like, no, you will slow down. I'm at the telly like, you will slow down.
Help me feel better.
And I'm like, 15K to go. Nah, she'll pop soon. Yeah. 10K to go. Nah, definitely. Nah, trust me. I know how hard that last bit is.
Been there, done it.
It's well hard. And then she didn't. And incredible. But one question I want to ask you, Rosie, and do you know what? This is any topic we talk about on the show. I don't want you to feel obliged to answer in a way or have an opinion based off of my very obvious opinion of something, because I'm very passionate about certain things and how they are. But how do you feel about an athlete winning a major marathon, a world record, and getting paced by two pacemakers, or pacers as they're called now, very, very far into the field, to the point where I think she had a pacer few K to go, like less than 5K to go. How do you feel about that?
That's a difficult one, because I think, as the debate is throughout athletics, I think I have that debate with myself, and I think I look at it and think, well, she's still done it.
Yeah, agreed.
How different is it to having a competitor there with you? Like, if second place can hold on that long, then great. Like, it is a similar impact. Obviously, psychologically that that's a pacer, and that's maybe something that you could maybe look at and think, well, is there a psych advantage there, and how's that going to influence you? But I think sometimes it depends on the setup. And we look, again, we've talked about Kipchoge, the setup of his paces.
Yeah.
Like, how influential that was. A very different ballgame here. And I think, honestly, I don't think there's a right and wrong answer for me personally. I think if your organisers are going to allow it, take advantage.
Agreed. I do agree with that point. You're so bang on there. If organisers are going to allow it, if the things are there to help you succeed, then by all means. Last bit on paces is we are actually now seeing it further down in the field. I'm seeing there's a few tactical ploys being made by a few athletes, not saying who, but if you're chasing qualification marks, I'm seeing they're not necessarily an official pacer.
Yeah.
So like you could enter a marathon and pace me, and you're entered.
Yes.
So
I'm doing you a favour essentially.
Yeah, you're basically doing me a favour. Breaking the wind, getting my drinks, doing whatever. Which I don't know, that element takes a bit of the. For me, it takes a little bit of the authenticity of athletics out and the marathon out. I don't know, like I've always seen marathon running as like a solo sport, and it's you against the mileage, it's you against the road. But now it's becoming, I don't know, so it's way more orchestrated than it used to be.
Almost, I think, again, from Kipchoge, we've learned that we can manufacture things.
Yeah.
And I think, again, people are taking advantage of that. And part of me agrees with you. I think a marathon is the reason marathons are held in such high esteem in the running population, whether you look professionally or not, is because they are a graft. Like, it is an incredible feat to do a marathon. Like, there's a reason why it's not something that everybody achieves. And it is an insanely, huge deal to go and battle your own mind, your own body, and the road for 26.2 miles. Like, that is incredible. I think if we look towards the professional scene, and it's spoken about a little bit in the newsletter, that...
Nice plug.
Actually...
If you haven't already, subscribe to our new bi-weekly newsletter on your marks.
That the standards are getting so high. The times are dropping, and people are looking at it going, these elite fields are going to dwindle because the times are becoming unattainable. And I mean, we said earlier that there are so many of the men that are in that 204 bracket that you think it's almost not special anymore.
No.
It is incredibly special.
Yeah.
But when the elite field begins to dwindle, and we look at these standards, if GB want representation, have we got to take advantage of the fact that we can enter your teammate or your training partner to coach you through it and to help you? Have we got to take every little win to make sure that we have someone on that line? And I think sometimes there comes a point where, not ethics, I think it's not quite that intense, but where you start to think, well, that's got to go out the window. I need help here. I've got to take advantage of every little 1% I can gain. And I think that is the case. Obviously, you look all the way through the marathon, and there'll be people that need company on their long runs, and it makes it so much easier and so much better that they'll have a friend that they've done all their training with and that will run the marathon with them. And not necessarily to pace them to a time, but it's a similar principle. And I think if that is something that people enjoy doing, make the most of it. I think that we need to be aware that the marathon is a grueling thing, and it is just the way that the marathon's going. People are becoming smarter at how they attack it, and I think that's where that comes from.
So 209 and change. We've got a new world record. Let's talk about the post-race reaction. There's a lot to unpack here, but before we start any of that, just on the athlete, the pacing conversation, she's self-coached.
Wow.
Yeah, she said in her post-race press conference, she's self-coached. In fact, can you remind me of her name?
What, the pacer?
No, the new world record holder.
Oh, the new world record holder, Rosie. There
we go. So she's self-coached and
wow,
has a team of pacers. So, like in training, like just runs with like a group. But ultimately, if you're the best in the world, we're going to be the one. You've got that set up, sponsor or sorted out. But post-race reaction, when someone runs a mental time, us at Trackstaa, we're rubbing our hands. We're like, this post is going to bang.
It's going to be great.
It's going to blow up.
Some traction here.
It's amazing. Yes, get in, Ruth. Like, we're buzzing. So we posted it, and it was just like a grenade.
Yeah.
Like the whole. I mean, I think. I don't know how many likes that post got, but the last time I checked, it was over 30,000, and I ain't checked for about 2 weeks or about 10 days.
Yeah.
We had over 2,000 people share it, like that, and this was like 10 days ago, so I don't know what it's on now. comments were just through the roof. And like, I'm going through the comments and I'm like, that's ridiculous what you've just said. And it's just like, we have some mental people come on our stuff sometimes. And a lot of the time, like, as a running fan, I'd love to reply to them all, but we're like, no, just don't reply to any of that. Obviously, there was a lot of post-race heat when a journalist from Let's Run asked her about her performance. And basically, I don't want to quote the journalist word for word, but he asked the athlete how she feels about people accusing her of potentially doping.
Yes.
And again, we need to probably reference the exact question. I think it was Jonathan, no, I can't remember. Rod, no, I don't know. It's Geezer from Let's Run. Don't know. Anyway, my opinion, fair question. Fair question from a journalist.
Absolutely.
Because his actual question was asking how she felt about other people talking about it. He wasn't asking her, are you doping?
Yeah.
But that word doping and that sense of that topic, the whole of Athletics Kenya blew up.
Yeah.
They're in like Kenyan Parliament talking about Let's Run and saying like, you need to apologise.
Yeah.
And like it was very quickly after the race, the heat was insane.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we've ever seen to that level before.
Level. Yeah.
Obviously, there were a lot of people that were straight away saying that this is down to doping. This massive problem in Kenya at the moment with the accusations flying around, but also the number of banned athletes. Also consider the fact that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and potential. There's a lot of accusations that surround her agent in Rosa. Never been found guilty for anything, but has had various investigations. And I don't know the exact number of athletes under his agency that have been found guilty for doping, but there's a lot. So all of that into a cauldron and put a big old spoon in it, you can. Yeah. The heat was massive. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think that it always makes me a little bit sad that the sport is in a place where everybody's instinctive reaction is skepticism.
You don't get that in many other sports.
No.
Well, it's always endurance sports, of course, because it's a test of endurance.
Yeah.
But if Lionel Messi scores 6 goals,
no one back
and dribbles and goes through the whole team, no one says he's doping to do that. He's an incredible talent.
It's just the go. Oh, it's amazing.
He's a maverick.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Yeah. Best of all time. Athletic scene, and there are other sports as well, but straight away it is met with
sad, isn't it?
Yeah, with just a bit of a few raised eyebrows, and I think that it is sad. It does make me sad because our sport is one that is incredible because it is the bread and butter of human physical movement. Essentially, we have been running since the dawn of time. Like for whatever reason it is, if you want to go catch your food or you're running away from a bear,
true, right?
Like we have been running forever. And I think it's incredible that we can see how far we can push that. It does make me sad that we are skeptics now, but I think history has taught us that we have to be.
Yeah, well, it has. I think there's two things that are sad. One, it's sad because everything's questioned. Yeah. But it's also sad that our sport has allowed that to occur to this point. And it's like so toxic.
100%. And I mean, I don't know where you stand on the whole kind of shoe debate. That's a whole kind of, it's a similar kind of parallel tangent. And I feel
like this has overtaken the shoe debate though. Like the buzzword of doping has now overtaken, rather than saying it's the shoes, it's the shoes and the doping. Yeah. And it's this incredible mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think obviously the shoes is a separate debate in itself, which I'm sure we'll cover in depth at some stage.
Probably.
Probably several times.
Yeah.
But I think we have a right to be sceptical, especially as like you see so many people coming up. I mean, look at the 10K record, the 10,000 metre record that suddenly has been pulled it back in June, that broke, and you just think like, what are we going to see a few months, a few years down the line? And it's amazing that this has happened, but people are already thinking about that. And I think it's sad that we can't enjoy the moment. Because obviously, I mean, there's been rumours surrounding some of the greatest athletes of all time. Like, look at Mo, for example. Like, he had his fair share.
He's always under scrutiny. Always.
Exactly, always.
Even Paula.
Yeah.
Paula Radcliffe. Exactly. Always. I think it goes... But then, like, if we think from a British perspective, you go back on a sort of timeline, from a distance sort of corner, you got Mo Farah. Everyone would put him under a microscope during his career, and then massively after. Obviously, he had that relationship with Alberto Salazar, which didn't help. Paula, what's your first memory of a British athlete being scrutinised? For me, my first one's Paula.
Mine's Mo, I think.
Yeah.
I grew up being absolutely blown away by Mo Farah.
Yeah.
He was my hero.
Really,
I mean, as is probably everybody in any sort of age near me.
But what I'm saying is like, the point I'm making is, were athletes scrutinised as much back in the 80s and the 90s? Like, I personally have never heard an athlete scrutinise Steve Jones.
No.
Who was British record holder, absolute beast of a runner.
Exactly.
You know, used to fuel himself on like Mars bars and pints of cider, apparently.
How you got to do it.
But running incredible times in a different era, no one at the time, from my knowledge, was scrutinising that performance.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And the whole microscope has changed around the sport, isn't it? Because as soon as you run fast now,
people are so aware of the technologies that are available now. I think there is a heightened awareness of the shoes, of the doping, the technology that goes on behind the doping. We are getting more and more clever as a species, essentially.
Yeah, human race, yeah.
And we are using that in every way possible. And in some ways that's great. In some ways, I mean, look at AI, the development of that. Like, it's the same principle. People are becoming more aware that things might not be created purely by humans. It's created by AI, which humans then created. And I think we go along that route, and I think that, people are going to become more and more sceptical. Is this truly authentic? Because fewer and fewer things in our lives, whether it is in sport or in anything else, is authentic. Even social media, it's not authentic anymore. Like, people will post, I mean, they're coming maybe full circle where people are more aware that they need to post the good, the bad and the ugly. But on your personal social media account, you share what you want people to see.
You do. And also it's massively dictated by the mood you're in and what you're going through yourself.
Exactly.
You can hide away from anything, can't you?
Yeah, you can just turn your phone off. People don't need to see it if things are going badly. And some people will say, well, that's really good because you're dealing with your stuff or whatever. And you're taking yourself away and looking after yourself. And then you've got people that are in a position of power that if they do that and they're not showing that bad side, where you've got your influencers that are not showing that kind of vulnerability, that people think it never happens to them. Yeah. And that's just not true. And I think that authenticity, or the lack of authenticity, is everywhere we look. And I think it is breaching into sport as well. And that is why we're so sceptical. And I mean, history has taught us to be. We look at, I mean, you mentioned like some of Kenya's doping habits. And I had a bit of a dive into WADA's investigations into Kenya and the records of athletes that have been found to be doping from them. And I think it was 138 athletes were found to be doping between 2004 and 2018. 95% of them, so 131 of them, were endurance runners.
From Kenya?
From Kenya.
I would say that I'm not surprised by that statistic.
I'm not surprised either, but it is an awful lot of athletes. And I think that is why people start to get worried. And I think a lot of people won't necessarily know those statistics. No. I was having a great little nerd dive. It was brilliant. But I think
crying by the end of it.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on? Actually, existential crisis by the end. But no, it was like, I look at it and I think, like, that doesn't surprise me because you see it coming. And obviously, endurance running is one of Kenya's strongest sports. It's not shocking that that's where the money is for them.
Yeah, rightly so. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's life changing for a lot of those runners.
Exactly. But I think the fact that I wasn't shocked by those numbers, by the fact there was over 130 of them.
Yeah.
I think that tells you a lot about where the sport is at in a minute. And I have not got a crystal ball. I would love to know what the inner goings on in that world record are. I'd love to know the mechanics more from an athletics fan's perspective. I love to see what athletes are doing, what they're putting in. I think that is fascinating. But I would love to know what has gone on behind the scenes there. And I think that it's not necessarily from a sceptical point of view, from just out of curiosity, but people will want to know to put that to bed. And I think, firstly, it's flattering to Ruth Kepnietich that she is under such a microscope because she has done something incredible. And if she hadn't done something incredible, people wouldn't care.
We're going to have to reach out to her team and be like, can you come film some of your training? And
that'd be so cool.
Follow you around for a day. Probably won't get a reply.
Don't think that,
You never know.
Don't ask, you don't get.
Don't ask, you don't get. And I think that on that, we live in a world now where so much elite athletics is accessible to us behind the scenes. We've got YouTube channels that are dedicated to it, covering training workouts, articles, Strava. You know, companies like Coros and Garmin and the watch companies now are actually investing into sharing the data of their athletes. Like we're seeing data from like Jakob Ingebrigtsen and, you know, all these incredible athletes, which 5 to 10 years ago, it was almost like a taboo where it was like, God, why is it so secretive? We wish we could see more and more.
Yeah, and it was a point where...
It's opened it up completely.
100%. I think we're in an age of kind of digital transparency in that sense. And it goes back to the authenticity. People like it when they can see everything. And they find it interesting. They find themselves more invested because they feel that they are part of it. And people love that. Fans, especially in any sport, love being involved. And that is a way that athletics fans are. And I think that would be, I mean, it'd be incredible to have a look into her training. I think that would be
I'll reach out.
So interesting.
If you're watching, Ruth, I'll reach out and you can get back to me. But if you want a more deep dive into the Chicago Marathon review and go through all the results, you need to subscribe to the On Your Marks newsletter because we covered it in depth this week. And if you didn't see it, you can DM us and I'll send you it. But that was the Chicago Marathon.
It was.
Let's go back over the pond. Let's go back home. Let's talk about what's going on, what's coming up from a British perspective, because as you said at the start of the show, cross-country season has started over here. It's when it starts over here, it starts very low-key, doesn't it? You've got your league meets and little basically people running around the field. But then it quickly accelerates into the big meets up to some of the big gun runs in November. But between now and Christmas, what have we got going on? What's worth talking about?
So... we mentioned the National Cross Country Relays earlier on, and they're a magical day. They're great. They're great fun.
Can't wait for it.
So that is next weekend. That's next Saturday.
Berry Park.
That's the one.
Mansfield.
Iconic venue. It's the only place I've ever known it, personally.
Don't really go there for anything else.
No.
Yeah, not a lot in Mansfield.
It's the only time I've ever visited Mansfield.
Mansfield town.
Yeah.
Didn't go there before, but you are right. It is iconic, and I think the first time I ever did it was in under 13. I was 12, 11 or 12. I think I've got a nice story actually about cross-country relays. So I'm 11 years old. So that it's it's the winter of 2006, I think, or 2005. Can't remember. I need to look back at the results, but go and look at the results because this story will all sort of correlate with them. But I've run the 2.5k loop for the under 13s earlier on in the day. And because I'm a nerd, I'm sticking around all day and watching all the runs. And my coach back to the east of England, the Peterborough, don't leave until after the senior men's. Now, my club were like way back. So like we basically got to put the floodlights on for them. But at the front of the race, I'm following it all and I'm seeing like iconic runners, you know, I've seen in Athletics Weekly, I've seen on the front of the cover, like, whoa, that's so-and-so, you know, this, that and the other, there's Andy Vernon or there's Chris Thompson. Final leg of the senior men's race. Now they do 5Ks, 2 laps. Nick McCormick from Morpeth Harriers, the Olympian, takes it. He's miles out ahead, right? And I'm waiting for Nick to come through the bushes, and it's like big old figure of Nick McCormick flying up this hill, making it look like nothing. And I'm like, okay, right, who's in second? And I heard on the tannoy a name. Mo Farah is moving through the field. Now, I'd never heard of Mo Farah at this point. I'm like 11, 12 years old. I didn't have a clue who this Mo Farah was, right? And as I say, this is 2005, 2006. So this is before he becomes...
huge.
Global.
Yeah.
But he was still incredible at this time.
Yeah.
He's running for Newman, Essex and Beagles, black vest, yellow strip through the middle of it. And I think he picked up the last leg in 30-odd position. Anyway, I see him going up this hill, going past runners like they were standing still. I to this day, like it's ingrained in my head. He got them up to this. I think he got them up to second or third, fastest leg of the day. I couldn't believe him go up this hill, classic Mo Farah running cadence, going past club runners that would have been 14-minute 5K runners like they'd been shot, like they'd standing still.
Yeah.
And that, for me, was like, right, I am going to come back to this race every single year until I'm a senior man because I want to try and emulate what Mo Farah did. And for the years that followed, it was always about going down on the coach or going with your mum and dad, trying to make the A team. And if you weren't in the A team, try and be in the B team, try and beat the 18 runners, you know what I mean? And it was always about that big downhill finish, that final corner where there was so many runners. And then you always had that hill, didn't you?
Yeah, you always forgot about it as well, didn't you?
You got a big fat downhill into the turning bend and you got a little hill that when you're young, it's all right as a senior because you're stronger, but when you're young, oh my God, it's like going up Kilimanjaro in Mansfield.
It is.
But
who knew that's where it was?
Who knew? Who knew? But the race itself is so iconic. Obviously, the England Cross Country ECCA, which stands for the English Cross Country Association, so much history involved in them. They've been around for donkey's years. Saucony have sponsored it for 22 years.
Wow.
This is their last year sponsoring it.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah,
And,
I mean, I think of nationals.
You know Saucony, don't you?
Yeah, I think of national
22
cross.
years.
It is Saucony.
And this will be their last year sponsoring the cross relays, and they won't be sponsoring the national cross either.
Wow.
There's a new sponsor coming in. I can't tell you who it is, but I'll give you a clue. It's a retailer.
Okay.
And a really, 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 really big running brand.
Oh.
I mean, that's a bit of a hint.
A little bit.
So they've signed a deal. This is all on the grapevine. This is all inside info.
Can't wait.
But I'm not telling you. But this is what's going on. So they've signed a deal with the ECCA, which I think is good for the sport.
Yeah.
And that will mean that the cross country relays and the nationals have got a new sponsor, which is good. But I actually spoke to Saucony in the week. I got some good friends that work there, and they were like, "Yeah, like last year, 22 years. It's like
crazy,
a mad thing."
That's end of an era.
It is, yeah, it is. And I said, I was like, "You doing anything on the day?" No, not really. Not because the brand Saucony's moved in. Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing them right now. Like this is where they've moved into. Like cool shoes like this. You know, it's not like what we used to know. But before we get into the preview of the cross relays, I said to the guys at Trackstaa, I was like, it's the last year of Saucony sponsoring it. We've now got more people on the video team. We should go. We'll go. We'll create some sick videos.
Yeah.
And just try and give that essence of what we're talking about when it comes to the cross relays. That passion, that club culture. Try and emulate that in some videos. So we reached out to the ECCA. And we are currently in talks about being allowed to go.
That's brilliant.
Hopefully we're allowed.
Fingers crossed. I mean, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Be daft not to let us go, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Anywho, let's get into the preview. So, I mean, you've got the big hitters, haven't you?
Yes.
They're so consistent across the age groups as well, aren't they? Like older shot final in the district. They're like top 3. Under 13, under 15, all the way through to seniors.
It is just, I had a quick look back at the senior winners last year for both men and the women. AFD was second in the senior men's last year and second and third in the senior women's last year. And you
That's incredible. What depth?
Yeah.
That's how many runners? Is that they have three in the women's?
3 in the women's.
4 in the men's.
Yes,
4
I
in the
think
men's.
so.
So 6 of the older shot women are like top a podium, and that's amazing.
Isn't it? And I think AFD are just, they're crazy. I think I have been aware of AFD since being an under 13.
It's like growing up as a kid, like I heard about the legendary coaching of Mick Woods.
Yes.
And I think Mick Woods is a name in not just in coaching, but just in athletics in general. I would honestly say I'd go as far as across the world.
Yeah.
He's known across the world as a legendary coach. And I remember being like 10, 11 years old and being like, yeah, Mick Woods. Don't have a clue what he looks like, but he's a well good coach.
He was always a silhouette in my mind as a kid. I was like,
paint a picture in your head, don't you?
You hear about
What did you think when you did see him? Did it match the picture?
It didn't.
What was the picture in your head?
I don't know. Like I actually couldn't tell you what I expected when I walked down to St Mary's for the first time and met Mick for the first time.
Yeah.
But he was just so different to what I thought I was going to meet.
I think the first time I ever saw him proper, I'd seen photos maybe of him in Athletics Week, but the first time I ever saw him properly was
Cliveview car park at St Mary's.
Yeah. St Mary's University. I was like 24 years old and I was like, wow, that is Mick Woods and he's now my coach.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Exactly what my thoughts were. I know I chose to come down here and I knew that he was going to be here, but he's actually here. That is Mick Woods. And
it was like meeting the king.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Wow. Hi Mick, how are you?
Right, mind my P's and Q's. Do I bow?
Yeah.
No, he's a legendary coach. But AFD, he's ingrained in that history there.
He is.
Mick was a brilliant runner himself. He ran 2:20 for the marathon.
Incredible.
You know, black backwind shoes were like sandals.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They were shocking compared to today's technology. So he was a good runner in his day. I think he ran quite a few marathons. I remember him telling me once he did run a lot. But that stable of athletes that have come through the ranks at Aldershot, proving the point there about the two senior women's teams up the top. Like that's common knowledge, like it's common practice. You know, you go through some of the senior women they've had over the years. Athletes like Emma Pallant now, who's triathlete. No, in fact, I think she does Ironmans. She was incredible back in the day for AFD. Steph Twell, Charlotte Purdue, Emily Hosker. Oh my God! I mean, we could go on and on.
I mean, yeah, your list is endless, and like I say, even as a junior, as someone that was uneducated and just rocking up, having the best time of their life, AFD were there. They were in my head every single time. That's an AFD vest. I gotta be that vest.
First AFD vest I saw, and weirdly now she's a friend of mine, which weird running world, isn't it? Like, you know, I remember the first ever cover star on Athletics Weekly, Emily Pigeon. Right?
Really?
Emily Pigeon was older shot. Under 13, I think she was, or under 15. She was flying, like, winning, like, national cross or whatever, going to, like, European cross in GB vest. Mick Wood's coach, part of that Steph Twell, Charlotte Purdue stable. And I was just like, you girls are like the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
You're like you have that impact on the running world that the Spice Girls have in the music industry of the 90s. And yeah, she's now a friend of mine, and married to us, Andrea Sargent, and got a little baby girl.
Oh, amazing!
Crazy little world.
That is crazy. But yeah, and I think that the National Cross Relays is somewhere where that was always amplified for me. I like where the Cross Relay sits in the calendar as well. I think it's it kickstarts the cross season. Like
first opportunity for runners to be seen on a national scale, isn't it? Who's going well?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who's transitioned well from track into cross. It's short, it's fast, it lets you maintain that track speed. And it's the first real crack of, right, who are the ones to watch this year? Let's get a real good run out. It's exciting because it's fast. It is exciting. It's like the introduction of the short course races that we're seeing in the cross challenges. Yeah. And I think that is why people love it, because cross country is a slog. We all know that. We all know that it's a really rough ride at times. But the National Cross Relays brings that speed and that exciting change. And I think that where it is in the calendar, it makes you excited for the rest of the season. You've had a good couple of league races. You've gone around the local fields a few times. Like you've got yourself in there. You've found your grass legs.
You got your spikes wet again.
Yeah.
You've got your spikes out of the bag that have not been out since March.
Yes. You've picked off the old mud.
They're crusty and they stink.
Awful.
But you put them on anyway, and you've done a few sessions and they're wet again. And National Cross Relays falls 3 or 4 weeks before Liverpool.
Exactly.
So it's like your last maybe race on the cross. Maybe you do the league race the following week, but it's your one and only opportunity to go up against the big guns until the day at Liverpool at Sefton Park.
Yeah, and I love this side of the cross season for that reason, because you start off slow and you get you dip your toes back in, and then suddenly bang, national relays, get the speed out, get the legs turning. 2 weeks later, you're in Liverpool. You've got for the women 8K to contend. Then you're thinking, right, let's go. Yeah. Let's hash this out.
I think the men's might be 8K.
Is it?
They might have changed it.
Oh, interesting.
It was 10.
Yeah.
I don't know if I read that or that might be incorrect. There's going to be a few of those incorrect quotes on it. But I feel like I might have read, or was there a debate about making it the same length as the women's race? I don't know.
There's always a debate.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's talk about the senior races. Let's preview who are the leading runners and riders. Do you want to kick us off with the women?
Again, I'm looking back at last year's and seeing Belgrave and AFD, and I think it's going to be hard to beat.
Belgrave. So I was Belgrave Harrier until this week. I left this week. Sorry, Belgrave. I joined Aldershot. I am a turncoat, but I've gone to the dark side. But anyway, very good friends with the club at Belgrave. Know a lot of the runners. They've got Kate Axford coming back from Fontremo, the Kip Run sponsored athlete who is just phenomenal, and we'll definitely have her on the show. And in actual fact, we're filming a workout with Kate next week, so you can look forward to that.
That'd be very good.
Liverpool cross-country workout, so she'll be featured on the channel. But she's coming back into the team. She'll be flying, and Belgrave are definitely going to be up there because they're just there's so much depth from the London club.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one when I look at Belgrave, because I know the strength and depth they have. I know the pedigree they have as a club. I think they are phenomenal. Them and the AFD, if someone says you want a London club, they are the two in my head.
Yeah,
I think...
Yeah. I think you're right.
They are the ones that I'd go to.
Plus the kit at Belgrave. Tracksmith. Worth going just for that, isn't it? Steve Gardner. What a kit order.
What more could you want? But I have to say, to me personally, they were more under the radar than AFD. I mean, I was aware of AFD since I was down here.
Yeah.
And only in recent years have I thought, oh, Belgrave. But now I wouldn't ever underestimate them. And I think they will be... I mean, the battle at the front is always going to be insane.
Their history goes back quite a long way.
It does.
Like, in the 90s, they were big. They had some big runners in the 90s. They've had a lot of good sprinters as well. Dwayne Chambers, Darren Campbell.
Yeah.
You know, John Gladwin, 351 miler. Like, he's on the committee now. Mustard.
Yeah.
Real good club. And they got a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
Because they're in South West London, they got a lot of dough flying around there. A lot of city workers. They've always been a pretty sexy club.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Very much. Yeah.
Somehow I ended up part of it. I reckon the sexy level dropped when I joined.
Took a real hit.
Yeah, it did. They went through a bad time. That's why I had to leave.
They're all relieved.
I had to rough it in Aldershot.
Like, oh, thank God.
They're like, oh, get yourself down Military Stadium, lad. Like, get off a belt. Get out of Battersea Park. You're not, you're 30 now. But no, Belgrave will be up there in the seniors, senior women. Not so much on the men's side.
No.
The men's side's got a lot of depth, but they're not at the
not quite the out
crescendo yet,
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
AFD are always going to feature.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about some other clubs. You can't rule out Tonbridge.
Never can rule out Tonbridge. They're another one. They are always in and around.
Mark Hookway did a brilliant job there.
I mean,
another legendary coach.
If you didn't grow up watching his videos of the races looking for yourself, you're lying.
I know, literally. Like,
you're lying.
You'd find your race video and it'd be like, 400 views. And 300 of those are you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's bump the numbers, Mark. Come on. Let's bump the numbers. What a boy.
Yeah, you're lying to me if you didn't go and watch his videos to find you in his race. But yeah, anyway. And then I think Cambridge and Coleridge are another one that I wouldn't ever want to underestimate. Obviously last year, I mean they won the senior men's last year. They did fantastically. Callum Elson had a great leg at the end of that last year. Obviously he's out in front remote at the minute.
Yeah. Training hard, training well.
Exactly. And he said he's got some races coming up in November. So it'll be interesting to see what his comeback looks like.
Podium.
That would be incredible. I can't wait for podium. I think podium's going to be great.
Yeah, 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. Big prize pot as well.
10 grand.
And that if that doesn't make it a tasty race, I don't know what will.
Yeah, put on the line.
Yeah.
What about from the north of England? Because the north always do well in cross country. They're just hard, aren't they? They're just hard.
I mean,
you lot are hard.
Different breed, isn't it?
Your Leeds, your Sunderlands, your Gatesheads. They're different. They're cut from a different cloth that us Southerners, we're the type that we wear a long sleeve under a singlet for cross if it's below 12.
If it gets too chilly.
If it's below 12.
If there's a bit of a wind chill.
Yeah.
The arm sleeves are coming on.
I need my Adidas Clima Cool long sleeve underneath my singlet. Whereas in the north, I did the national cross country in Sunderland in 2006 and it snowed over. It was wicked. It was like snow and just northerns are scary.
I remember going into the English schools one year thinking it is so cold. I can't believe they're not letting us put anything underneath our vest and no long sleeves. And you see then the announcement comes out, this year you'll be allowed to put a base layer on if you want to. And I was like, give me that layer. And then you see all the northern counties and they're all in their vests still and you think, oh my God, London have got trackies on, they've got their long compression socks and you are there in the bare minimum. Fair play. I don't mess with that crowd.
Don't mess with that lot. But no, I mean, Leeds City will turn out strongly. They'll always turn out strongly. And an outside shout, I might get slated for this in the comments, but Sheffield, or not Sheffield, Hallam. Sheffield and Hallam, I think that's what they're called. I think they could turn up from the north.
Yeah, possibly. Actually.
They've got a lot of good runners in Sheffield.
I would, that's a good shout.
I think they're worth talking about.
And I'll be interested to see, come Saturday, what that looks like and how that's going to...
Well, we'll know after one leg, won't we?
We will.
Because that's where it's all won and lost. And, the unofficial World Championship is the first leg.
It's an amazing leg.
It is awesome.
Amazing.
Get yourself on that final corner if you've never been.
Yeah.
Men's side, outside... okay, I don't know if they're running, but let's just imagine that Derby put out Hugo Milner and Ben Connor. Because Ben Connor's back running and he's in shape. Because he ran, I think he did a 5K in low 14 minutes.
I mean, there is no denying Hugo Milner's in shape. I mean, we saw him at the World Triathlon.
28:47.
Yeah, silly.
Someone commented, they were like, oh, it ain't 10K. It was like, Like, it's not like some div's turned up from park run and he's got a PB of 37 minutes and then just popped out at 20. It's like Hugo Milner. He's like Great Britain cross country runner, incredible athlete. Oh yeah, that was so funny. That was when I was like, oh, just bite your lip. Don't respond. But Ben Connor's in good shape again. He ran a good 5K. He also ran. I think he did a cross country. I think he's done a cross country already. I'm not quite sure. I think I saw on Instagram, but he's back training hard. Obviously, Ben Connor's record speaks for himself. But if they turned out, that's two out of the 4. It's 2 out of the 4.
Yeah, that's big. And we know Hugo Milner does enjoy his cross. I mean, we had a phenomenal show from him over the cross country season last year. He did some really, really good runs, some really solid runs. And I think, I mean, I would be surprised if he lined up, to be honest. I would,
that close to Liverpool?
Yeah, I think.
I haven't seen him do it for a little while.
No, he's had other priorities with his try. I think he's done a fair few recently, and it wouldn't surprise me if this just didn't quite make it for him on we need to get a block of training in before Liverpool, or kind of whatever his outlook looks like. Unless, of course, he sees it as a training run. He goes out, he races, and then hops off for a session. We've seen athletes do that. Use the racing opportunity for a bit of fine-tuning and then go off and hammer it on the hills or go and contest the mud a little bit longer and really get a good session out of it. So there is a possibility. I think that would make it a really exciting day. But it wouldn't shock me if we didn't see Hugo Milner out there. I think it'd be a bit sad. I think it'd be a great day for Derby if we did.
What about, here's a team, if they turned out, Rory Leonard, Scott Beattie, Kyle Avery, James Young, Morpeth Harriers. That's hard to beat.
That is hard to beat.
That's a really hard team to beat.
It is.
And I might be doing someone at Morpeth for disjust. They're sitting there, but I'll be in the A team.
Excuse me.
So I've not included them. Like, Morpeth are strong if they can turn their boys out.
It would be, again, interesting to see. Obviously, Rory Leonard's out in front as well.
As is Scott.
Yeah. They are.
He's had a dodgy belly, Scott.
Oh, has he?
He got deli belly in font.
Oh no! Not the place you want it.
I can't quote the YouTube video what he said, but he was passing a lot of water.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
lovely.
Hope you're feeling better, Scott.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out, and if they're coming down from altitude for this, or if they're going to kind of delay it just a couple more days.
Focus on Liverpool, maybe.
Yeah, obviously we have Cardiff a week after.
Yeah.
After the cross relays, so I think it will depend very much on the individual focus of these athletes and what their teams and their sponsors and their coaches are kind of looking at. But if they all turned out, what a day that'll be! Like if they all come out, I mean, we're not going to get them all on one day. That would be incredible. But
yeah,
if we did, what a day it's going to be in Mansfield.
It's always been that conversation of if these people turned out, like Aldershot. If Aldershot had put out who they could over the last 10 years, I'll stick my neck out on the line and say it would have been difficult to take 1 year off of them.
Yeah.
Because there was a time where they could have put Andy Vernon, Chris Thompson, Stephen Scullion, Adam Clark, Ellis Cross, Johnny Hay, not all, obviously all at once. But like there were years where if they got that level of team out, they'd been miles clear. Yeah. Miles clear. But it just never happens because people got different goals and vice versa. But that could be a case for Leeds this year as well. Leeds have got Sessman, Emil. Yeah. Osama Meslek's always good over the cross relays because it's it's short enough for him to be able to sort of, track pedigree really helps him. And I know he's had a good first leg before. So they've got a real, potentially very strong team.
I think... ultimately it all rides on where people's priorities lie this year. Again, it's been a really long track season, so it wouldn't shock me at all if a few people said, you know what, it's just a couple of weeks too early, Liverpool's going to be the one. I wouldn't be surprised at all, and I think that's totally fair considering it has been a late finish for a lot of these athletes. Callum Elson, I think, is a really interesting one, of course, with his injury. A lot of people watching this would have followed his injury because he documents it really well.
Achilles. Indoors.
Awful to watch that was, but I think going off what we see from him on social media, he'll be itching to get out on the course.
Yeah, you got to be dying to get out.
He's going to be absolutely dying to get out. And part of me would think that this could be a really great place for him to do it because it is a bit shorter, it is a bit quicker.
A little bit less pressure.
A little bit less pressure. Go get a run out, get yourself ready.
Blow the cobwebs up.
Yeah, hit Liverpool hard.
You need a race, don't you?
You got to have
like any level of athlete, even someone as good as Callum, like you need one race.
You've got to find your legs somewhere.
Just bust that rust.
Yeah.
And be like, bloody hell, that was hard.
Race fitness is a little bit different to training fitness. You have to race to get race fit. So of all of them, I think Callum Elson will be absolutely itching to get out there on Saturday. I think it'd be great if he did. And I think he's great for the sport.
Agreed, 100%. And hopefully he watches the show.
That'd be great.
Tune in, Callum. But the day itself is going to be mega through all the age groups. I know we've just spoken about the seniors, but there's a common thread when it comes to the national cross country relays that the under 13s are as exciting as the senior races, and a lot of people stick around and watch the senior races and vice versa. I used to always turn up early to watch the youngsters. It's just inspiring to see kids having a go and like just sending it. You know what I mean? Like giving it some beans and just seeing what happens for your club. And I think for that there's a lot of there's something really raw about it. I think
absolutely.
For me, which is not just the fact that it's cross country, but also the club element.
Well, yeah, I think as you say, cross country is the purest form of our sport. It is the grassroots, literally.
And I just love that, like, you know, you're in Mansfield.
Oh, it's amazing.
Dirty burger from the burger van that's always there. A cup of tea in a polystyrene cup.
What more could you want?
Toilet blocks that I don't think have been cleaned this century. You know, it's pucker, isn't it? It's just so...
It's vintage.
Oh, it's vintage.
It's vintage.
It's vintage. You know, it won't be spoken about in certain circles of the Conservative Party, but we'll talk about it because it's raw, and that's what I love about it.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to be, you know, on the side watching it in me puffer coat, freezing.
Yeah, get the dry robe on, it'd be great.
I don't wear dry robes.
Do you not?
No, they're
not
a
you.
Nah, they're a nick. No, do you know what? We will talk about running nicks on this show, 100% because there's a lot. But I've got one nick that we can discreetly mention is taking your dry robe. Because the dry robe's for when you've got out of the water.
Yeah.
That's what it's built for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I cannot fathom how you can wear one to Tesco.
That's dog walker gold.
Yeah, so that's my running nick of the week. Running nick of the week is not even necessarily if you're a runner, but just wearing your dry robe to the supermarket is just so bleh. Nah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I have one, and that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on. What we got to look forward to between now and Christmas? Because obviously cross country season's kicking off.
It is kicking off. Obviously, the New York Marathon is coming swiftly after the cross relays. That's next Sunday. But then we do start with the cross challenge. Cardiff on the 9th, Liverpool on the 23rd. Yep. Obviously, that's where the big hitters look. Yep. Cardiff's amazing. I love Cardiff.
You done that race?
I did last year.
Yeah, I did it once.
And
tough, innit?
Harder than people, like, everyone...
That hill at the back, real tough.
People will tell... Like, I went into it thinking fast and flat. Everyone had told me fast and flat.
Yeah.
And I was excited. I love a fast and flat course.
Sounds easier, doesn't it?
It does. Doesn't necessarily suit me, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I got to the back of that course and I thought, who on earth has told me this lie? I'm coming for you.
It's really hard. Yeah, the course is... But I think the course at Cardiff is perfect for Liverpool.
Absolutely.
Like a pre-run, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's timed really well by the organisers for that.
Yeah, and the course set up and the guys behind the Cardiff race as well, they do a great job. The club lot down there, they're always really supportive. It's a good race. Mm-hmm. It's just really windy.
It is. It is very
cold.
It's so open and so cold.
It's freezing.
So as much as I loved it, I was glad to get back in the car afterwards and start coming home. But Cardiff's great. Liverpool obviously is one that we look at, gives so much focus to. The European trials, it is
massive,
huge.
We'll preview this on next week's on
the next one.
2 weeks' time. We'll preview Liverpool. And we'll deep dive into that. The whole show will probably be about Liverpool Cross, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
but how many times have you raced it?
I think I've done Liverpool 2 or 3 times.
Wow, I've done it once.
It's rough. It's a rough day at the office, Liverpool.
It is. I was chatting to Joe Wigfield today on the warm up for the session.
Yeah,
I was like, are you going for Liverpool? We're actually filming Joe Wigfield next week as well, so that's coming to the channel. I said to him, how are you going? He's like, yeah, I'm going all right. And he's not doing cross relays, and he won leg one. I don't think it was last year or the year before, but
yes, he
I was
did.
there for
remember.
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, chatting about Liverpool, and we were just like agreeing how intense Liverpool. I would describe Liverpool as the most competitive race on the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can do your league races and be really, send it, do national road, cross-country relays, your road relays and everything. But you run Liverpool and there's just this feel, it's so intense.
There's another depth.
Mental.
The potential for that vest, whether you are in contention for that vest or not.
You feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I've lined up on that start line thinking, like, this is the business. Like, we are here. Like, this is...
I got
a hard
that
day.
noise you just made, that big, like...
Yeah.
I've got a funny story from Liverpool. Last time I did it, the only time I did it, I think I was like 80th.
Right.
And when I say I was in the shape of my life, I was in the shape of my life. I couldn't believe I was so far down. I think the first mile was like 450.
Yeah.
I was about 100th.
Yeah.
And I'm like, eh? Yeah. Anyway, I line up on the start line and I like game face on, like, I don't know, that's my game face. But I lined up next to Mohammed.
Oh, dear.
And it's like, and he's a really nice guy, Mohammed, like, so friendly, totally chill. And when I'm nervous, I just talk.
You're a chatterer, you can tell.
I just talk. So I'm on the start line and everyone's like really quiet and serious. And it's one of them where it's like, oh, we've got a few minutes yet. Race referee's finding his whistle in the bottom of his endless pocket.
Yeah, all the way.
I'm like, oh, God, this is really scary. This is really scary. So I was like, oh. All right, Mo. Feeling it today, are you? This is how the conversation was going. And he's like, yeah, like really friendly. I'm like, yeah, same, mate. Yeah, I'm going for it today. Yeah, top 10 probably. top 10 probably. Didn't see him for the rest of the race.
Yeah,
but nice little story on the front start line, chatting to Mohammed. I can't remember how he got on the day. I think he was top 3. I think he came 3rd. I think he definitely got vest. But Liverpool is incredible. Like, I also like that all the uni lot turn out.
Oh yeah, it's
all
a
the
huge day in the
go and watch, don't they? They have a big night out.
Yeah, it is.
It's class.
Aside from books, as a uni student, the biggest cross in the calendar, I think.
It's a great night out.
It's a brilliant night out. One of the best nights out of my life.
You actually go whether you race or not.
Yeah.
And
go be part of it.
Yeah. Well, we used to do at St Mary's. We used to do because we're St Mary's and we're South West London, and we're like, we ain't going to Liverpool. We used to go back.
Yes.
So we'd come back.
Yeah.
So you'd race, get back, be absolutely knackered, probably not eating anything, and just get straight on the Blossom Hill.
Yeah, but because you've not eaten anything, it's going to be the best night of your life.
Straight in Hippodrome, got lost. Class. Kebab on the way home.
Absolutely.
Sunday long run.
Yeah, in I think it was my second year at St Mary's, that is exactly what we did. Liverpool, go out, full send, knackered, get yourself back, absolutely on the floor, right, night out, off we go. We got back about 4 a.m. Had a brilliant night. It was, again, to date, one of the best nights of my life. And then back at 4 a.m, we went to one of my friends for, not even for afters, we were just chatting. Like, it was
for a power 10.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant night. We were like debriefing the whole day, the race, a bit of truth or dare.
Class.
What more could you want? And then we look at the time. Guys, it's 6 a.m. We've got a long run in 3 hours.
Oh my God.
We should toddle back off to uni.
Yes.
So we're trekking back to Halls at 6 a.m. Get to bed 6:30, have a bit of kip, 2.5 hours sleep, up we get, 10 miles out. We got to the middle of Bushy and we thought, it's a mile back, but you know what? I think that's all right for today. And we had a lovely wander back from Bushy.
Fair enough.
Back to Cliveview.
Class.
Went had a nap and cracked on with my day.
What a time to be alive.
Brilliant.
I wish I could relate to that now. But few problems. I wouldn't be able to do it until 4 a.m, maybe midnight, and I don't think I'd be able to get up.
Yeah, I can't.
Old.
I look at it and think, I don't know how I did that. And that was 2 years ago.
I know. But back in them days when we'd go on a night out, be drinking sugary drinks.
Yes.
Like VKs.
Yeah.
And you just keep going.
It's the sugar. I tell you what I do.
You can do that with pints of Guinness.
No, 100%. I mean, I'm not a big drinker. Get a sugary, like, fizzy pop down me. Give me a bit of fancy fruit twist.
We're on.
I am absolutely...
We'll make a note of that. We'll get Rosie on the Fanta twist. She'll be off her nut.
It's game day on the Fanta fruit twist.
So Liverpool Cross is going to be incredible.
Yes.
We've got New York Marathon, Cardiff Cross Challenge before then.
Yes.
And then there's a few 10Ks. If you go on Tracksta's website, we've listed some of the upcoming events that are coming up between now and the end of the year. You've got Ribble Valley 10K, Telford 10K is also a big one in December.
Yes, that's 15th of December.
I might do that.
That's the week after. Oh, really?
Did it years ago. It's a really good race.
Yeah, it's known to be quick.
Really good one. Might do that.
Week before that, we have the European cross country, which obviously is the kind of the fruits of the labour of those that hammered it around Liverpool. So December we really start to get into some interesting races.
I don't know if we'll go to Turkey. We might do. Trackstaa might be there. We'll see.
That'd
see
be
what
solid.
happens. Hope
Awesome.
so.
That'd be great.
Be cool. We'll start with Liverpool and then we'll see if we if we can go to Turkey.
We can,
We'll see.
We'll work our way up there. But yeah, I mean, again, Valencia Marathon's at the start of December. And then we see the first instalment of the English Schools Finals in December as well, with the English Schools Cross Country Cup.
Yeah, I did that one year.
Yeah.
So for anyone watching, what's the difference between the English Schools Cup and the English Schools?
So the English Schools is a county race, and you're competing for your county. You have to be selected, and that is usually around March time. It's the end of the cross country season, and that is one of the pinnacles of your kind of school domestic career.
Yeah.
The English Schools is the top of the top.
It's the Olympics, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
The cross country cup is, whilst it's still regional, you're competing for your school itself. So schools have to enter, and you go through several rounds, and you could win, but your school might not go through. So you might not progress to the next round because your school team hasn't gone through.
I did not know that because I did it.
Yeah.
And my school weren't good enough, but I won.
So you can win your race, but because the rest of your team, it's all on points as a full team, because the rest of your team didn't pull through for you.
They're footballers. I mean,
Mums stick them in the football boots, off you go, son.
literally, yeah. So to round up the episode of this week's On Your Marks, we're going to discuss our top moments from the summer season. So that can be anything from endurance to sprints to throws to jumps, anything that myself or Rosie think is worth talking about and is really a highlight moment. So, Rosie, you want to kick us off? What is what's the first on your list of top moments
my
from...
top moment? Or should we build up to my top moment?
Let's build up.
Okay.
Let's build up.
Okay. One of them that we can't not talk about, it's got to be Georgia Bell. I think she's got such likability anyway.
Yeah.
But to see the success from someone that has a story and a career pathway such as her, it's refreshing, because you see these athletes that have kind of, like, obviously they've all worked so hard and they're all grinding day in, day out, but they've come through, they've gone to uni, they've done the student athlete thing and launched themselves into professional athletics. George Bell hasn't done that, and it's inspiring to see. And I think for that reason, watching her get an Olympic bronze and a British record is so inspiring, refreshing, and just, I know there's so many people that will relate to it. And I think for that reason, we can't not mention her when we're highlighting how good this season's been.
It's been a massive year for Georgia, another Belgrave Harrier. Been on our podcast as well. Definitely check that episode out. Although that feels like it was forever ago because her career has skyrocketed. On that episode, I asked her, because she was still full-time work at the time and unsponsored. And I said, how far... She'd run 4.6 for the 1,500 at the time I interviewed her. I think. No, it was 4.6, but I'm trying to think when we interviewed her. Anyway, and I said, how fast will you need to run for the 1,500 to go full-time, quit your job? And she wouldn't give me a number, but I think like we both kind of knew it was that 4-minute barrier, which obviously she broke. She took the British record, 3:52. But at the same time, she signed for Nike, joined, coached by Trevor Painter anyway. Trevor's on, in the Nike payroll. He's got his Nike sponsored group with Keely and Sarah Healy and the rest of the superstars there. So she's got the great support now from Nike. The year itself, like she would have earned a few quid because she won a lot of races. She podiumed a lot in the Diamond League. She would have racked up some bills, and then obviously British record, all these bonuses. I'm sure that what may have worked in her favour, and I'm just thinking hypothetically and just trying to piece together maybe something. I don't know whether this is factual. Maybe Georgia, you can tell us. But I think when she signed her Nike contract, she would have had some bonuses in there that she maybe looked at and thought, I don't know if I can do those. Yeah. But she probably has gone and done all of them. Yeah. Because the athlete she signed at the time is not the athlete she is now.
100%.
And that could mean that you earned a few quid.
Yeah.
Or a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that could be exactly what she needed to kick off this incredible career. And obviously people are going to look to her now. She's more of a name in those conversations now, which is incredible. I
think on points, she's number one in the world for 800 and 1,500.
Which is just phenomenal.
It's mental, isn't it?
Phenomenal. And
I feel like I'm being disrespectful, but it's actually insane because of the journey and how quick, not how quick the journey's been, but the last year is like...
What people have seen, it's gone like that. Yeah. Obviously for her, there would have been a steady trajectory, and yes, it's taken off now, and the media attention she's got will make it feel like the momentum has gained and snowballed so much. But I mean, she's going to have been grafting behind the scenes for a long time.
And she's just got married. So
She has, yeah.
Congratulations, Georgia.
Done all of this, this incredible summer while planning a wedding.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like, next level.
But women are good at planning. And I'm talking from my experience of being in a relationship, and we're not engaged, but we're already talking about our wedding, as you do. And I'm like, I'm like, there's a lot going on. Like, we're talking cakes and guests and vol-au-vents and DJ and cutlery, and I'm like, whoa, bro, just go down to Town Hall. But in all seriousness, no, what a year for Georgia Bell, and a good one to kick off the segment. Yeah,
I think it's amazing, and I think there are some in this list that the order might surprise people in the sense of, like, I mean, we're going to talk about Keely next. People go, why is she not ranked kind of higher on your pinnacle? Like we said earlier, the inevitability of Keely's gold medal. Yeah. I think Mo's absence, her achievements are nothing short of incredible.
No.
But people expect it from her.
Yeah.
And I think there are things that people will look at, and, like, I mean, this list, some of them will go, well, there's no way that beats out Keely. And it in some ways it doesn't, but in some ways I look at what she's done and I think, that's amazing. It's a highlight, but I knew that was coming.
Yeah, the Keely thing when she won the gold, it was the performance where, like, my girlfriend Vic loves track and field now because of knowing me for 4 or 5 years. So, like, she has to watch the athletics because I'm watching athletics. You know, it's like the one thing I'm like, no, I have to watch.
Yeah.
There's no other program like it. And she starts to get to know the runners and stuff, and, like, starts to become, like, has her favourites. And Keely's become one of her favourite athletes because to Vic, it's like she's the one that's like, she's just a normal girl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was the one race in Paris where we were in our living room and both going mental.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, really wanted it.
Yeah.
And it felt, for me, a little bit, it took me back to when Kelly Holmes won, and it reminded me of my mum and dad in the living room going mental for Kelly Holmes.
Yeah.
And, like, me being a bit young and kind of being like, yeah, I'm buzzing she's won, but, like, sick. Well done, Kelly.
Yeah,
But,
nice one.
Yeah, good for Keely. And the sky's the limit for her.
Oh,
Everyone's talking about the world record.
I mean, yeah, she said that she's going to go for it next season. I'm excited to see what that's going to kind of look like and see how she does with that, because I think if anyone's got it in her, it's Keely. And I will never get bored of watching Keely run.
No, she's so majestic.
She is incredible to watch. She's a smart racer. She's so smooth in her biomechanics. I love watching Keely run.
So we've got a firework display going on outside in the middle of the day. So if you hear a load of fireworks in the background, then that's what's going on. But what's next on your list, Rosie?
So not a running one this time, but Molly Calder and Holly Bradshaw. And
I know what moment you're going to talk about. That was sick.
Yes, I think those two, I've got a lot of respect for them both as athletes anyway. Yeah. I've met Molly on a couple of occasions and she is so lovely. Obviously Paris didn't go their way.
Right.
But that moment between the two of them on the track, on the runway, with Molly comforting Holly, I think that was amazing, and that is what the sport's about. And we can see Keely's gold medal, and we can see world records tumble and medals come in, and
more to sport than goals, though.
Exactly, and I think
journeys
that
and stories
epitomised everything, and especially for Molly. I mean, she was going in. There was almost no question that gold was hers.
World lead, wasn't it?
She was world lead. People had hung that medal around her neck.
Yeah, I had.
I had.
Yeah.
And I thought she deserved it. I wanted her to win it with every ounce of my being. But I think that moment, I saw it and I thought, you know what? It doesn't matter that you've had a bad one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because, yes, it's the Olympics. Yes, it comes around every 4 years. But that's what it's about. And that means so much more. And instantly, even though my heart broke for them both, that was just like, that is exactly what we want from our British athletes. And I think there is nothing better to be putting out there than that. Even if we have all the success in the world, that's what it's about.
And Holly now retired.
Yeah.
So
phenomenal career. But
hopefully she stays in the sport. I don't know whether in a coaching format or maybe she'll look to, join British athletics in some I think she way. But I would love to see her really active in the sport because I think she's great for it.
I think she could do a lot of good. She's openly spoken about mental health struggles and various issues she's gone through with body image and things like that. I think she is so important to the sport. And again, I think that's why it was such an amazing moment to see those two together on the runway, looking after each other, was just everything the sport is about.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Nice.
Yeah, it got us to slip back and got to bring up English schools. I think.
On the track.
Yes. Yeah. We get so distracted by the global stage, as we should.
I mean, fair enough. Phenomenal. It is mental, isn't it?
But the English schools, there's a reason that people tune into that. Like, it is a phenomenal school event.
Where was it at?
It's Alexander Stadium in Birmingham at the moment.
Nice.
I was lucky enough to be commentating it, so this is a very, very vivid memory in my mind. But Inez Fitzgerald in the senior women's 3,000 metres was just phenomenal. I mean, anyone that's seen her run knows that she likes to front run and command it. Yeah, she will just turn the screw until it won't turn anymore.
Yeah.
And I'll be interested to see how that develops with her over her career. But she absolutely obliterated Paula Radcliffe's 32-year-old record over the 3,000 metres. Obliterated it.
What time did she run?
8:58.
Wow, sub-9 as well.
Sub-9.
So is it solo effort?
Solo effort from the get-go. The previous record was 9:04 in 1992.
Wow.
Yeah. And
where was that being? Was that Vinco streamed?
No, it was on YouTube. I think
okay.
it was 24/7.
So everyone could watch it?
Yes. So
because it used to be on telly, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
It's Sky Sports.
Yeah.
Back in the day. That's where I used to watch it.
Yeah. So
I've got a good friend of mine, Tom Guy. I'm going to give Tom Guy a shout out. I'll tell you why. We'll go back to Fitzgerald in a moment. One of my best mates, Tom Guy, Stoke athlete. He was the 2-time 800-metre English schools champion, bottom year and top year, and he won it bottom year from lane 8.
Wow.
Slowest qualifier, won it bottom year. That's mental.
That is a huge thing.
Yeah, and he'll love me bringing that up because he always brings it up. Two-time English schools winner.
I would.
It's like, you put that on your CV, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so why do you think you're perfect
for this? That never expires.
Why do you think you're perfect for this job as postman? Well, I'm 2-time English schools winner. So anyway, back to Inez Fitzgerald.
But yeah, she was just incredible to watch. Like, yeah, she was on her own, and some athletes would look at it and think, you know what? What does the record mean? It's completely arbitrary. Like, it doesn't matter.
It does though, because that one particularly, and with it being Paula, and 32 years, like it's there for a reason, isn't it? It's taken that long to be broken. Incredible.
And yeah, I was lucky enough to have been working with Rob Walker that weekend.
Oh my God. My favourite sports broadcaster ever.
Yeah.
When the first time I ever heard Rob doing commentary was, I think it was English schools, you know.
He loves English schools.
I knew his voice before his face.
Yeah.
And then I met him very briefly at Wimbledon tennis one year.
Oh, really?
Because I was there with Johnny Hay, the old shot athlete who knew him, because Johnny's like a bit of a legend in the running world back in the day. He is so good with commentary.
Isn't he?
Best.
I
wish he was on more.
Yeah, he works for Channel 4 mainly. And I mean, for a lot of it, I spent a lot of my day just looking and thinking, wow, you're so good at this.
Yeah,
like, it was amazing.
So
a master of the craft. Like, absolutely incredible.
And he's so nice as well.
Oh, he's lovely.
He'd help anyone, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rob, we love you here. And
do.
Hopefully you're going to be a fan of the show.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Good old boy.
But yeah, so I was lucky enough to be working with him, and he'd just gone down to help with the parade. He was doing a speech for the parade, so the timings just worked in my favour. Inez Fitzgerald was a solo effort from me on that one, and wow, what a race to do that. And it was just, I think, because I commentated, it is ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, you remember those ones, don't you?
You do, and that was such a feat. With it being Paula's record, I can't not mention it if I look back over the summer.
Nah, good. That's a mega one. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
But we do have to jump back to the global scene and go to Mondo.
Yeah, he's not bad, is he?
He's all right.
He's, did you see his engagement?
I did. What an announcement that is.
What was it? Vogue, yeah, Vogue. Quite, you'd have got paid a pretty quid for that and all.
Yeah.
Wow. I love seeing athletes earning dough.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. I think it's like, good, cash in.
You
earned that. You deserve, you're like the best at what you do. You deserve to be a multi-millionaire. Like,
I mean,
I just feel like that. And obviously track field athletes are not paid great compared to other sports.
No.
So, but what a season he's had.
Absolutely. And I mean, breaking the record as many times as he has done, it's very fruitful anyway. With get those checks in.
Yeah.
And he's maybe gone about it quite a smart way. Break it a centimetre at a time, go up a little bit at a time, know there's more in the bank so you can keep.
Well, it's what Isabel Nova used to do before she got banned.
Yeah.
But she used to do it every centimetre, 1 centimetre each time.
Exactly. And it's a clever way of going about it. And I think he's nailed it. And I think every athletics fan in the world has completely fallen in love with him.
I interviewed him in Paris.
Did you?
Yeah, and I've never met him in person, but, you know, I can appreciate he's really, really fit.
Yeah.
And he's really good looking.
He's a really good looking guy.
No, he's a very handsome chap. So, you know, I was a little bit in awe of him, to be honest.
I think,
he's a big lad. You know, he's quite intimidating. He's a big old muscular dude.
Yeah.
And I asked him about the Grand Slam track, not including the field events, and his answer was wicked. He was like, basically, pole vault's sick. Yeah. Everyone knows it's sick. We ain't going to be worried. Pole vault's going to be around forever. And I was like, fair enough.
Love it.
See you later, Mondo.
You know what? Pole vault's probably my favourite field event.
It's got good camaraderie, isn't it? As you say about the Molly Holly thing. You see that in the men's side as well.
You do.
All mates, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's almost like multi-eventers.
Yeah.
They travel circuit together. You know, on the runway they're by themselves, but then in between attempts, a lot of them are, you know, like friends.
Such a community.
I like that.
And I think for that reason, and obviously his likability, just everything about him, he's nailed it. He's
a global star.
He is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And like him and his now fiance, they're like a power couple.
Yeah.
I think she's got over 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like a model and stuff, and she when he broke the world record at the Olympics, she filmed it.
Yeah.
And on TikTok.
Oh, it went everywhere.
Yeah, I looked at it the other day. It had millions of likes.
Yeah.
And if you click the comments, like verified accounts are always near the top.
Yeah.
Every company you can think of commented on it. Begging to work with Mondo. You know, like begging, like every phone network, they're all on there like, woo! And like they just want to work with Mondo.
The world's at their feet, isn't
Literally
it?
world at their feet. Like every brand you can believe.
Yeah.
So good for him, good for Mondo. Definitely deserved to be on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this one is one that could potentially cause some controversy with some people, is Fan Hassan and her triple medals, her 2 bronzes and her gold.
I think it's worth on the list.
You can't ignore it. It's a phenomenal feat.
Well, like she tried to do the Zadapek.
Yeah.
Emil Zadapek. Obviously, he won the 5 and 10 the marathon in 1958. Oh. Helsinki. If I get that right, get in. In his debut marathon, I had.
Wow.
And there was that classic, can she do it, can't she do it? But just trying it.
Yeah.
It's class, isn't it? Yeah. It's just good for the sport.
I think, and obviously there's been some controversy surrounding her as an athlete previously because of her associations with Salazar.
Yeah.
And we meant, people will always bear that in mind, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they will always be a little bit sceptical because they know that she's been linked with Salazar. So for some people that there will be a little bit of doubt in their minds. And I mean, I don't think anybody can really complain about that. I think it is fair. But what she's done is insane. And it should hopefully, for her and for Reccap and Jetic, as we mentioned earlier, it's a form of flattery. If people are sceptical about what you've done something really good. Yeah. Clearly. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say that they're clean or they're not. I obviously have no idea like anybody else. But if you're clean and you're doing that and you're causing this many waves, well done.
Yeah.
Because that is amazing. And there's a reason that people get sceptical. Yeah. So
totally deserved to be on the list, because
100%
free medal. I mean, like when she said she was going for it, like I thought she'd get at least one. I was like, I thought you'd medal in the marathon.
Yeah.
Best chance. But I didn't expect her to do so well in the 5. Like I just thought a bit short now. You know, kicker's game.
Yeah.
Faith, keep your egg on, run away with this sort of thing. But, lap to go, I was like, hang on a minute.
She's still there.
She might win this.
Yeah.
And if it was do you know what? If that was the Hassan of years back, and not many years, but like pre-marathon, she wins that race.
Oh, 100%.
She would have won that race because she would have been out of clothes. That's way faster. She was flying that Olympics and definitely worth on that list.
Yeah, 100%.
You got one more for us?
Oh, okay. I've got to pick one more.
Pick one more. We've got a long list.
I've got a very long list. There's been so many good things. And I think there are some that obviously you've got to mention people like Phoebe Gill or KJT.
Yeah, give us some mentions and then your ultimate.
Okay. So Phoebe Gill was one of my mentions. Her composure was incredible.
So stern.
Amazing.
So consistent.
A 17-year-old to do that.
And won British trials.
Wow.
Yeah.
KJT and her silver medal.
That was heartwarming.
If that didn't tug at your heartstrings, I don't know what will.
Good to see her back on the podium.
It was so deserved. And being in Oslo, the 1,500 metres between Ingebrigtsen and Chariot, that was so close. Yeah. Incredible.
That was amazing. I watched that through a phone screen.
Yeah.
Because I was filming it like this. Yeah. And I really wish I didn't.
Yeah.
But also class.
Amazing. Amazing.
Really good, yeah.
I mean, I went out and interviewed in the mix zone, but I went out with some friends and they were in the stands and they still talk about it today. Like that race was amazing. That was the best meet I've ever been to.
It was brilliant, yeah.
But my top one has got to be Lena and Lavia Nielsen.
Okay.
Not necessarily household names to athletics fans now.
Yeah.
They've had a huge season. Their story is one that is incredible and inspiring anyway. Their MS journey is phenomenal.
Yeah.
However, when you look at their journey, you want them to get every success in the world. So to see them at the Olympic trials, Lena had secured her spot at her first Olympics. Lavia still to run. Lena spent so long in the mixed zone with everybody, and you could see that she was worried about missing Lavia, but she didn't want to miss and do a disservice to the media. And she was sprinting back up that mixed zone. As soon as Lavia was out on the line, she was there.
Yeah.
And most of the people that watching this, I'm sure, would have seen the video of her screaming Lavia through the line. And they knew as soon as Lavia crossed the line, they'd both made it on that plane. Or on the Eurostar, I should say. And that was one of the best moments for me this summer, watching them both do it. Having known about their story, followed them, interviewed them both. And as far as a lot of people will somewhat relate to, not setbacks of that magnitude, like that is, they've had a hell of a journey, but setbacks nonetheless in their lives. But yeah, watching those two celebrate together after following their journey so closely was just one that was amazing. And obviously we know they had some success in Paris, and that was incredible to watch. But that moment of elation, especially after moments before Lena had come down the mixed zone, and she'd basically broke down in tears because I promised myself 10 years ago as a 17-year-old when I was diagnosed, learning to walk again, that I would make myself an Olympian, and I've just done it, and I've just got to wait to see if my sister does it too.
Yeah,
and then she did, and it's just, I mean, goosebumps even just saying that. You don't get that.
That's
ever.
mega.
That's amazing.
And for people watching this, definitely check out their YouTube channel.
Oh, amazing.
I said to Lavia in Paris, I think it was Paris, after the Diamond League, I said, I love your YouTube channel. And I don't watch a lot of running content because I just get too consumed by it. But their channel is one that I will watch because it's just like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
I said to her, I was like, I just feel like I'm on the side of training as coach with my little stopwatch, just watching you make the Olympics, which is so cool.
So special.
Do you know what I mean? It just I don't know, it makes me feel like training to be an Olympian is pretty relatable.
Yeah, they've made something that is so...
It's good. I really like it.
Yeah, so top tier to be like, oh, cool, I can be involved in that.
And it's sick as well also to see a level of that level of athlete, two athletes, should I say, at that level, being able to integrate vlogging and YouTube without it hindering their running and doing it in an enjoyable way. I think that's good to see the sport moving that way. I think more athletes will take inspiration from it.
Absolutely. And they clearly love what they do. They love it. And what more could you want to see? Like, I think that is my top moment this year, was seeing those two achieve that dream together and be there together and be on the podium together then in Paris.
Yeah.
How much more special can it get than that?
Unreal. Well, I think that rounded us off really nicely, and what a way to end. So thank you for joining us for the first ever episode of On Your Marks from the Trackstaa team. I've been Lloyd. Rosie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Please come back.
I can't wait to come back.
And in 2 weeks, we will be previewing Liverpool cross country. We'll also be talking about, no doubt, what's going on in the past 2 weeks. We've got New York Marathon coming up. And also we've got those national cross-country relays. And it's also worth noting that the NCAA season in the cross-country US is going to be kicking off as well. So we'll be talking all things US stateside. But if you don't already, follow us at Trackstaa on Instagram, subscribe to our newsletter On Your Marks. And of course, if you're not a subscriber here on the channel, please do subscribe, because not only are we bringing you a show here every 2 weeks, we've also got training workouts coming from the best in Britain. So a lot to look forward to. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.